Chapter 4 discusses the importance of language as a tool in communicating and how using language can create different images in your mind when you describe something. It talks about the muted group of the population, which are minorities that are constrained by what they can and cannot say, and the style switch, which means switching between co-languages between different cultures. Um, the differences between meaning and phrases for different places of the world, and how people have the ability to change the meaning of a word to decide how they want to use it. The connotations that we place on words often cause misunderstandings. Certain groups, such as the medical world and lawyers, different professional groups, have different jargon and slang that is not understood by outsiders. People use doublespeak, which is the misuse of words to deliberately change the meaning of something to possibly make it sound better. It talks about the difference in understanding of words and how it can cause big misunderstandings. If I think a word means something and you think it means something else, and then it can cause a disagreement. It talks about how you should avoid sexist, homophobic, and racist language, and that you should use words in the correct content and with the correct group as to avoid misunderstandings. Chapter 5 talks about nonverbal communication and how it plays an important role. Your body language, the tone of voice, your appearance all convey things even when you don't speak. Um, your nonverbal communication can often belittle what you're actually saying. You're constantly communicating by either frowning, smiling, what you're wearing, if you raise your eyebrows a certain way, any facial expressions, you're still communicating even when you're not saying anything. Um, Nonverbal communication is often more believable than verbal communication because you can say one thing but do another, and there's the phrase that actions speak louder than words, so people tend to listen more to what you're doing than what you're actually saying. Different cultures interpret nonverbal gestures in different ways, such as the OK sign. In America, it means, good job, A-OK, and in different cultures, it means something disrespectful. Nonverbal communication can be used to deceive people or often compliment what you're saying. So if you're lying and you have a blank face, it's not giving away what you're actually feeling. Different forms of nonverbal communication, such as touch, your expression, your body language, and even not saying something at times is verbal communication, nonverbal communication. Chapter 6 talks about distinguishing between listening and hearing, how you can hear something without actually listening to it. And that hearing is a physical process, and it doesn't mean that you're comprehending or paying attention to what somebody's actually saying. First, you have to understand, remember, and then think about what has been said to you. And after that, you can begin to process it by interpreting it, evaluating it, and then finally formulating a response. Um, and also, how we interpret things depends on which side of the brain we're using. The left side is analytical and likes the process of everything, and the right side is cognitive, which is more about doing it than the actual process of doing it. To remember things, you can try things such as repetition, chunking, and creative patterns that you can find within the text. Different forms of listening. You can listen to gain information because you're interested, because you want to empathize with someone, or maybe because you're even forced to listen. Barriers with listening are that you can just be uninterested and unfocused on what the speaker is saying. It's a difficult topic that you don't really want to talk about. You can be pretending to listen, and then you have your own bias, which is stopping you from actually paying attention to what the person is saying. You need to learn the difference between fact and opinion and actually gather your own information on the topic before you come to a conclusion. And lastly, everyone needs to learn effective listening skills in order to be an effective communicator.